that cool?
Pretty cool.
It doesn't always work. This morning I asked them to go to the wall. I want to hold your hand, and once I saw her standing there. So it's still, but Alexa, stop.
Okay, pause. Anything else I can help with?
No,
Bye for now.
but you can ask it to, I know we're short on time, so but if you want to talk to it, this afternoon, I will have it. Alexa, open my talking books.
Yeah.
What's your favorite book?
A search for a John Grisham book.
Okay. Alexa, open my talking books.
Welcome back, Michael, to my talking books. What can I do for you? Say,
Sure.
continue. If you want to keep going,
Alexa.
but with
Search for books by John Grisham.
books by John Grisham. Initial 5 of 51. 1. The Guardians. 2. The King of Sports. 3. The Reckoning. 4. Theodore Boone.
Oh, wow.
5. The Testament. Say a number or words from the
Alexa,
title.
5.
You selected The Testament. 5. John Grisham. Narrator. Gregory Gorton.
Alexa, play.
Reading the
People
Testament.
keep signing
Starting
in
from
on the
Bible and author.
NFB of Utah account, so it kicks me out.
By John Grisham.
You let Ron back in.
You wanna let, Tony, can you let Ron in?
Alexa, stop.
That's awesome.
Okay, pause. Anything else I can help with?
No.
Thank you very much. Put back down here and then we'll. Oh, let me mute it. Oh, question? Okay. I don't know. I know they have books in it. You want to? Yeah, come by this afternoon. We'll try it. Oh, when that I don't know. One thing I strongly recommend you do is sign up for the patron announce list. If you it stands for Patron Engagement Section. The email address is nlspes@loc.gov. Just send an email to them. Tell them you want to be on the patron announce list, and when either more betas or when they roll it out. They just released another beta this spring. I know Jerry and Marnie, a few of you are on that. As far as timing, they don't tell us much more than they tell you guys, honestly. So I don't have an answer for that, but definitely sign up for that patron announce list. All right. Thanks, you guys.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
You muted it? Okay. I could say, Alexa, nothing happens.
I'm sorry.
That was wonderful. Okay, again, Michael will be available at the vendor exhibit hall table for the library from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Our other outstanding sponsors will also be there. So you definitely want to take some time and go and thank them for being a sponsor of our NFB Utah convention. Go see what they're showing. They've worked hard to present to you many different things. I am sad to report one of our sponsors was supposed to be here, Lundy LLC. He has the application on the Alexa, the skill called Finding Homes, which he was going to demonstrate to you there. But we started it last year. He was a sponsor in our Park City convention. He is stuck in San Antonio. The weather is to where he cannot make it here until sometime after 9 o'clock tonight. So he'll be around tomorrow. So we'll hopefully get him up on the podium and at least let him demonstrate something to you and talk about his products that are moving right along. They're expanding all throughout the country. Our next speaker, unfortunately couldn't be here today. Lori Samuels from NBC Universal, Comcast Utah, as you know, is our title sponsor. Please give a big round of applause to Comcast. Are any of our Comcast people in the back there? Hey, all right, wonderful. Welcome. We are so glad to have you here and being a part of this awesome convention. So Lori Samuels was not able to be here today. I was excited to have her talk to you about audio description and all the awesome things that they do. Her husband had a medical emergency, and so she was not able to be here. So our thoughts and prayers are with Lori. She'll be around. She lives in Logan. We'll get her back on this agenda in future years. So she actually came and did a tour of the Division of Services for the Blind, saw the awesome work that we're doing there. And so it's kind of neat to have a partner from NBC Universal here in Utah. But Comcast did send it's a video, but we're not showing the video because it has audio description. So you get to experience how blind people experience a video. So this video has audio description and it is from Comcast. So I'm going to ask James and Mac to play that for us now.
At Comcast, we believe entertainment shouldn't have to be seen.
Movies with video descriptions. A massive dinosaur foot stomps down into the mud.
Or heard to be experienced. That innovation can begin with the sound of your voice.
Kids movies.
We just got the eye tracking technology set up.
And that technology can unlock independence.
Wow, I did that.
At Comcast, we believe that disability isn't the lack of ability, it's the lack of a solution. Because when you strive to make products more inclusive, you help everyone get closer to what matters most.
Text Comcast, NBC Universal.
Yesterday, we were in a presentation, a collaboration presentation with the Utah Schools for the Deaf and the Blind and Comcast Utah. They were introducing Tyler Marin to all of the kids. Tyler, if you want to make your way up to the head table, that would be great. But they were introducing Tyler and Deneva Knight, who heads the all of diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility for Comcast Utah, and has been a great friend and partner and someone I've grown to really enjoy being with because I've seen how much she cares about making sure everyone feels equal in Utah and how important it is to her and her job. She got on the stage yesterday and she talked about with all of the students and members that were there about how she uses voice recognition on her Xfinity box. Which demonstrated to everyone that these accessibility tools that Comcast has put into their devices is not just for us, it's for everyone. It's universal design. It's the way it's supposed to be. You know, text messaging came out originally for deaf and hard of hearing individuals to communicate better. What happened? It groundswelled to everyone. Now we all use text messaging. It's the same way, voice recognition, voice guidance, that was built for people who are blind and print disabled and couldn't read print and things like that. So that's why they built that. And now everybody uses it. Audio description is the same way. Audio description was built for us. And guess what Netflix has done and Comcast and other companies, they've put it on almost every product that they have. And look what they're doing. They're advertising it now that you can clean the house and you can still consume your content. You can be doing things that you need to do. You're running your errands or whatever, and you can still consume the content. Just turn on the audio description. You don't have to look at the screen because you'll get all of the description of what's going on. And that's what universal design is all about. And that's what I am so excited about what Comcast does for Utah and for people everywhere. So once again, thank you, Comcast. Yeah. So Our next presenter, I got to meet, I don't know if I'd ever met him before last convention. I had heard about him. I'd heard about him because people here in Utah who play goalball, people like Quentin Williams, Marty Langworthy, Kathy Morgan, Chris Morgan, then Louis Burdette, so many others that played goalball. Marnie West even played with Tyler. But all of these individuals told me about this guy named Tyler Marin. He's phenomenal. He's the greatest goalball player ever. He's really, really good. And they all talked about him. They all talked about being, and then Chris Dodds, who we are very proud of locally here in Utah because he is a Paralympic athlete on the United States goalball team. He got to play directly with Tyler on that team. And so we're really proud of Chris. And so we've heard all of these wonderful things about Tyler. And then I'm lucky enough to chair the Dr. Jacob Balatin Award Committee. And last year, one of the applications that was sent in was about Tyler Marin. It was sent in with probably 10 or 12 different recommendation letters from people all over the country using his mobile application that's accessible called Revision Fitness. And so I got to meet Tyler at New Orleans, was really impressed by him. Thought, man, this is a guy that I would have been friends with if I was growing up with. He is just like me in a lot of ways. And so, of course, I'm not nearly as fit as he is, but he's a great guy. I was so excited that I remember reaching out to him right after, and I said, I want to get you to Utah. And so we talked about how we can make that possible. And then Comcast stepped in, and Comcast sponsored Tyler being able to come here and be with all of us. So I'm really excited for you to hear Tyler's story. So please give a good, big Utah welcome to Tyler Marin.
Time to play the game.
I love that intro. That's awesome. Everett, I'm not super good with time, man. So if I go a little bit long, feel free to push me out of the enterprise captain's chair here. So I'm so glad to be here with you guys. I'm pumped that Everett invited me out to speak to you. And I always love coming to NFB conventions because there's so many great resources shared. We've heard from a lot of really good speakers today about all the options that we have and the accessibility that's being built in and all the things that are happening to kind of make the world a better place. And I think that's all a wonderful thing. But what I want to share with you guys today, I want to talk a little bit more to you as the individual. I want to talk a little bit more to you about the heart of the matter and kind of working from the inside out. I want to talk to you today about seeing the true champion within. And I don't have any bags of candy for you like Jessica did, but I'll do my best to make it worth your time. So as I stood on the medal stand in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil in 2016, I felt the weight of the medal hanging around my neck. My mind and my body just exhausted from the days of competition and the weeks, the months, even years of training leading up to this event. And as the flags began to raise up and the anthems began to play, and I felt the energy of the stadium full of people, the electricity of the crowd, and the strength of the men standing next to me, shoulder to shoulder on the podium. And I thought about the events in my life that had brought me to this point. When I was a kid, I was not exactly tagged for success. Right? There were a lot of people who doubted what I was capable of. There was a doctor who told my parents when I was little that I'd be blind someday and I would essentially be helpless. I would need somebody to take care of me for the rest of my life. I had I was never the first kid picked in any sporting event. I could never catch a pass in a pickup game of basketball. There were always people who doubted what I was capable of. And yet here I was on the stage of one of the most prestigious events of the world, winning a medal for the United States. And thank you. And the question really, it came to me and I thought, how did I get to this point? You know, what were the things that I learned along the way? And so what I want to do with you guys today is just kind of take you on a journey with me and teach you the 5 steps to seeing the true champion within. And so I'm an action guy. I like verbs. I like doing. I want to make things happen. So there's 5 verbs I'm going to give you guys, and I'm going to kind of expand on this as we go. So the verbs that we're going to talk about are look, take, decide, develop, and seek. So rewinding the tapes all the way back to the beginning, I was born on a farm in Southwest Michigan. No, I'm sorry. I was born in a hospital. I grew up in a farm, Southwest Michigan, and my parents, they noticed something a little different about me when I was a kid. My siblings and we'd go out and play in the yard, and I would come running out of my room, going outside, and I would, knock into some furniture. I would bump things and knock them over. And I was a pretty rough kid, so it didn't really slow me down. It's sorry, Mom, I broke it, and I just kind of keep running, right? And I would look at people and I'd talk to them, but my eyes would kind of shift to the side, and some little things like that my parents were like, what's going on here? So they took me to a specialist to try to figure out what was happening. And the specialist that they brought me to had a diagnosis for them, had an answer. And his answer was, I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but your son has an eye condition that's going to render him totally blind someday. And unfortunately, he didn't stop there. He said, not only will he be blind, he's essentially going to be helpless. He's going to need to go to a special school. He's going to have to live in a special home. He's going to need somebody to take care of him 24/7. And all of you guys sitting here know that's ridiculous, right? But my parents, we're growing up and we're living this small rural community. My parents are 9-to-5 folks. They're working on the farm. They're working full-time jobs along with that. They didn't know any better. They didn't know what we all know here. They didn't have a community like this with all these great resources. And so really what it was my parents felt a lot of fear at that moment. My dad talks about driving home from this appointment, and I was little, I was a toddler, and he had to pull off to the side of the road and stop the car and just sit and breathe and think for a minute. And he was afraid of what was going to happen in my life, right? You get firstborn son. My dad was an athlete. He played football and baseball, and he's got aspirations about his son being a star quarterback, starting pitcher, and now he's being told that his son's essentially going to be an invalid, right? And it was heavy. It was very heavy. But my parents taught me the first lesson pretty early in life to seeing the true champion within. And what they decided to do was to look beyond fear. They didn't let the fear of this diagnosis, of this situation, decide what they were going to do, what my life was going to be. They didn't let the fear of what could be determine what would be. So they said, well, he's not lost all of his vision yet. He's a healthy kid. He's got a strong back. We got chores to do. We're going to put him to work, and we're going to see how he does. They put me in a regular school, and we figured it out. I was very successful. Thankfully I was blessed with a sharp mind, and I made it through without a problem. And we always just kind of figured things out as we went, right? When we would play baseball in the yard with my cousins and stuff, I always had the big Nerf bat and the beach ball instead of, we would figure it out, right? We found solutions, and we never let fear get in the way of what we wanted to do. Now, I did pretty well with that for the most part. I wasn't always perfect at it. I loved playing basketball. Basketball was always my sport. I was always out in the driveway shooting hoops. I was always making something happen with a basketball. I tried out for the middle school basketball team and I made the team. I was pretty good at handling a ball. I enjoyed it. I was athletic. I had one practice in particular. I call it a bad practice, super frustrating. I was hit in the face twice by passes that I didn't see coming at me. I had a breakaway play. I was going down the court and I was going to shoot a layup and I came to the end of the court and I'm looking up in the air. I'm looking around for the hoop going, this is a problem. I couldn't figure out where the hoop was, you know. So about a week before our first game, I quit. I quit the team. I was afraid that I would be put out on the court and that I would fail, that I would fail my team. You know, and that was a time in my life where I let fear make the decision for me. You know, that one of the things that really drove this home and the thing that I think, and this is just me personally, the thing that's so beautiful about a convention like this is when I started really getting around others who were blind and visually impaired. I was in middle school, early high school years when I started really getting a lot of services for learning how to use a cane and read Braille. Started getting around some mentors, some older athletes. I called a friend of mine once. He was a collegiate level athlete. He was a goalball player, and just called him up and said, hey, how's it going? Just wanted to check in with you, see what's up. Well, he was on campus at Western Michigan University, and he said, hey, I'm just out. I'm going to this concert. So I'm walking over there now. I was like, cool. Where's the concert? And he goes, I don't know. It's somewhere here on campus. I said, you don't even know where you're going? He said, no, dude, it's a concert. You can hear it. You just got to aim for it, right? Like, and I was like, well, what if you get lost or something? Like, what are you going to do? And he said something to me that stuck with me.